Thank you for joining us. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Nyssa, and I will be your moderator today. I am an education consultant with Swivl, and I'm happy to be here with you all. We're going to talk about some really wonderful strategies concerning social emotional learning and Swivl. Your two hosts, Janelle and Erin, have some wonderful strategies and information for you. So Erin is on our professional learning team. She's an experienced educator and has bukus of knowledge to share with you, as does Janelle DeRobertis, who is on our customer success team. And she's also an experienced educator with a focus on science and STEM. So our objectives today are exploring learning strategies that employ Swivl to support SEL, and then learning how students can develop meaningful, genuine relationships with peers and teachers. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to my Swivl team. Erin, take it away.
Thank you, Nyssa, very much. I'm assuming that many of you, maybe not all of you, are familiar with CASEL. They're one of the leading social emotional, I don't want to say companies, but their framework is out there to support educators and just everybody as we kind of try to figure out how do we best support our students, providing those instructional pieces and understanding the competencies, understanding those components. We leaned on the CASEL framework when we were designing this particular webinar and our strategies. And so what we did is we aligned a couple of their competencies with our strategies. A lot of the competencies overlap, and a lot of the pieces in our strategies also overlap. So when we talk today about relationship skills and social awareness, we are going to be talking about those competencies in the setting of the classroom. But just know that, again, just like what you do in your classroom, there's so much overlap that while we might be talking about those two, you're sitting there thinking, but it could also be all of them or two or three of them. And so just knowing that when you go back to your classroom, when you watch your teachers looking at those competencies and then looking at the setting and seeing how can we embed, how can we support our students and our teachers as well. CASEL has just such a fantastic framework.
Before we dig into the two strategies that we're going to share with you today, I want to go over what Swivl strategies are. These are PDF plans that are created by Swivl team members that have experience in the classroom, and they are strategies to target student learning and professional learning for collaboration amongst educators. And some of them even include graphic organizers, which I'm a huge fan of as a former teacher. And you can find a variety of these on our Educator Hub. The strategy that I'm going to share with you is the celebration strategy. And this is where you can highlight moments that deserve to be highlighted and celebrated and share them with your class from a short clip in a video that you can record with your Swivl Robot. They can be pre-recorded, such as student presentations or pre-planned, or they can be unplanned moments. So you could set up your robot and record your whole group lesson or small group activities. It doesn't have to be planned. They can be organic moments. And then you can share those with your class when they need a boost, or you can, embed it into your routine to help save time and also kind of create a schedule to help students get excited about these celebrations. Some ideas I thought of to save a little bit of time might be to play them during snack time or morning meeting. And depending on what you're sharing, if you are sharing something that is SEL focused, you might take a few minutes to have a discussion after playing the celebration to really bring meaning to why you played that celebration and the importance of it. And last, celebrations aren't just for students, they can also be for you as teachers to take moments that you're proud of during your day and share those with a trusted colleague or a trusted administrator. And not only sharing perfect, successful moments in your classroom, but even moments where there's struggles or challenges, showing those and talking about how those struggles, challenges that we face, not everything's going to be perfect, so we can use those as learning moments and show growing moments as well. So you could share any type of situations like that with parents too and celebrate those. To show how celebrations can be used as a strategy to support SEL in your classroom, we picked one of the CASEL competencies to focus on. So if we're thinking about social awareness, let's go over some skills that you might see when students are demonstrating social awareness in your classroom. Overall, you're going to see the ability to understand different perspectives and show empathy, all towards those of different backgrounds and cultures, all of your classmates. It's the skills that allow you to understand emotions and recognize different facial expressions and body language, and then being able to respond to those emotions and things that you see with respect and compassion. Being able to show gratitude as well, just overall being to show compassion and respect for and appreciate diversity. So those are the skills that you would see for social awareness. And the idea is that if we can capture student interactions where they are showing these skills and we can play them back to our class and celebrate those moments, we can use them as teachable learning moments. And some ideas behind why video celebrations is a powerful tool for instilling these SEL skills or anything that you're celebrating comes from the whole brain child. And one of the strategies in that book is called Remember to Remember. What that strategy shares is that if we are prompting children to remember certain experiences by asking them questions or showing them a photo or having them watch a video, they're bringing that memory to the surface. And then it's important that we are having them talk about and reflect on that memory or that experience so that they're reflecting on it. And then it is going to make that memory or experience be very influential to them. They're going to understand the importance of the interaction that they might have had. And then they can apply what they've learned from that experience and that memory to future situations. Not only is it beneficial for the students involved in the interaction that was celebrated, but of course it's going to be powerful for the other students in the classroom as well. It's going to show them that success doesn't just look like doing good at a math problem. It's going to show them that there's more important things like showing gratitude and respect to our classmates and understanding how others are feeling and being able to understand perspectives from those that are different from us. They are going to see that celebration as an example of something that they can work towards when they're interacting with others. And of course, celebrations, sharing those moments with your class is obviously going to create a very warm and inviting positive classroom culture, which is, as CASEL says, very important for, instilling these SEL skills, is having that positive learning environment. We are going to walk through the steps of how to implement the celebration strategy. So you're going to, of course, start with capturing some video. And so one of our Swivl team members has a quick demo here of how to set up your robot to capture what's going on in your classroom. You'll see that he is going to attach his device to his robot, get that turned on, get a marker turned on. So that's going to be used to pick up presenter audio, as well as allow the robot to track it if there's any moving going on. You also don't have to turn on tracking. You can focus it on a certain group if you wanted to record those interactions. And then in a moment, you'll see some additional markers being turned on. And I would use those markers and place them around the room to pick up additional student conversations within small groups. Once you have your video captured, it is going to be in your Teams by Swivl library, and you can watch that recording back and find that moment that you want to highlight and use a bookmark to timestamp it. So when you have this pulled up to share with your class, I can just click where I commented and where I made that bookmark and click play.
I can please
Thank you,
chew with
sweetie.
your mouth closed.
Well, that was a kind reminder, Lila. Thank you.
And I wanted to celebrate that Lila used a super kind reminder at the table So I marked that moment, and it was super quick for me to share because it was bookmarked. From there, if I wanted to share it with anyone else, I could use a web link and share it out. And I could store this in a folder of SEL skills that I might want to reference later or share with a peer or colleague. I'd love to hear from you guys if you have any other ways that you support SEL skills in your classroom. If you want to share with us, you can raise your hand, we can unmute you, or if you want to drop it in the chat, you can do that as well.
Is it Raquanda?
It is, Raquanda. How are you doing?
Great. How are you? Please go ahead and share. We're so excited.
Okay,
Thank
yes.
you.
When I was in the classroom, I would, as they walk into the classroom, just to keep them excited about learning, I would put sticky notes on their desk. Thank you for walking in and being on task. Thank you for opening the door for me today. And that just made it was a great kickoff. And that's every period I would go through and do that. And that was a way of a celebration. Even when they walked out, today was great. Thank you for when you did this, and this. As an academic coach, I would go in and do that for teachers. Hey, I love the strategy that you implemented. Thank you for recognizing that kid who's without a pencil. So that energy exude excitement and appreciation. And that was a way that I practiced celebrating and implementing that social awareness piece.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That sounds fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to talk about a classroom community check-in. And so this is another one of our strategies. It really depends on how you set it up in your classroom, that procedure and that routine. In my head, I come from a very primary elementary classroom. In my head, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we do our morning meeting. All of our kids are partnered up and they have somebody that they want to share with. And then sometimes we share out whole group. But maybe I have some kids who have situations that they don't feel comfortable sharing with their random partner, or they are uncomfortable sharing to the whole group because they're that introverted. And that's going to be regardless of age. That personality can be K-12, higher ed even. I want to set up a recording opportunity for them to be able to share their experience, share their celebrations, share their concerns, but do it in a recording so that then what happens is they've recorded those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions, those questions. They've done that in teams. We have already set them up with a partner, so it's one-on-one, or a small group of peers that they trust, that they've developed a relationship with, right? And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that video and I'm going to put it into a group. And then at some point, again, depending on what procedure you set up that day or that week, one or multiple peers in that group are going to review that video. And I would ask my peers to provide a piece of feedback, like not negative feedback, but very constructive feedback, like helping my student understand something, and then a really solid compliment to make sure that they feel validated and they make sure that they feel heard. And those can be shared by clicking on a bookmark and leaving a timestamp comment, so that at the end of the week, when my student goes back to view their 1 or 2 or 3 or however many videos, they don't have to watch the entire thing. They can either read it, they can hear what they said, and then read the comment that has to do with that. That particular strategy, we kind of connected to building those relationship skills in CASEL. So that competency of relationship skills, there were more than 4 listed on the CASEL website, but I just picked out those 4 because I felt like those pieces really connected strongly to what I was asking my student and the peers to do, those skills that I was working with them on. You've got to work with your student to record. They need to know, how do you say what you're thinking, what you're feeling? And then you need to teach your peers, okay, how do you leave that feedback that is positive? How do you leave that compliment that isn't just, you have a nice shirt? Just kind of guiding your students to those so that they are learning effective communication, positive relationships, they're practicing those teamworks and problem solving, if one is asking for help and then they're offering some advice. And then of course, that seeking and offering help, like that's just the ability to ask for help and then the ability to offer that, especially at a young age. Those are critical skills that we need to teach. You are already embedding those in your day-to-day basis. Like we know that. And this is just one other strategy, one other way that you can embed these and know that it is aligned with CASEL and their competencies. Janelle spoke about the whole brain child, and we both kind of scanned through and read through parts of the book. One of the things that really resonated with me in as far as the relationship skills and the community check-in with that book is the idea of mindsight, right? And so mindsight is the ability to understand your thought process, your understanding, as well as somebody else's. At this point, like this strategy is not dealing with somebody else's thought process. It's more dealing with your own. And so by teaching students to verbalize their thoughts and their feelings, one of the things that we're helping them do in as far as mindset is recognize that the feelings that they might be having at that moment does not equal who they are. So if they are feeling particularly frustrated with a subject in school or particularly frustrated with an individual, that frustration does not equal who they are. They're not a frustrated person. They're not bad at something. They're not a mean person. They are feeling that way because of a situation and they need to work through why. And that's where that peer comes in to help them kind of communicate through some of that. And of course, adults as well. The idea of asking for support because they're unsure how to handle a situation. They just want to express their feelings. Sometimes like that's all they need. They just need to get it out. Sometimes they ask for help. Sometimes they don't. We've all been there where we're just like, I just need you to be a listening friend right now. Just knowing in your head, what do I need? Do I need advice or do I just need somebody to listen and to be able to verbalize that? The peers can come back in, like I said, and really just help reinforce whether or not how they're feeling doesn't equal who they are. That's that really powerful compliment piece. Like just because you feel this way doesn't mean you're this person. You are this person, and I see you and I hear you. So it validates the student who might be struggling. So I'm not going to go through and show the video for setting up the robot again. That is going to be the exact same process. And what I would do for this particular situation is I would set it up and it would be more stationary because I'm going to have my student come and just sit in front of it. Whereas in the celebration, you might set it up so that it's capturing your classroom setting. And so in this situation, we have a student, she came up, she sat down. So her peer listened to the video the whole way through. And then what they did is after they listened to everything, we talked about, okay, we want one piece of feedback and we want one compliment. So at 20 seconds, now my student can go back and see, well, what did I say at 20 seconds? And then she can go back and she can read the comment that her peer left, basically saying, like, I understand, but the coach is looking at a whole perspective. And I know it's frustrating, but they're probably doing what is best for everybody, including you. And then our student can go back to 37 seconds, listen to what she's talking about there. And our peer can say, like, your serve is amazing. Like, I recognize that you have been practicing and you have been improving. And this is really, really wonderful, despite how frustrated and angry you might be feeling. So all our peer had to do is go back and use one of the bookmarks at the various time stops. And then when that showed up, so if I left one here, then I could leave a comment right here. And that's as simple as it is. And then what I would do as the teacher is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this into a group right here so that my student knows where to go to find it. I might put it in a group prior to them leaving feedback, or I might do it afterwards. It just depends on how easy the video is to find it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share it to my webinar group for my practice here so that when my student goes to find it, all she has to do is look for her name or her group number or whatever it is that I have designated for her. And it's as easy, honestly, as that to maneuver within Teams. We would really love for you to share with us verbally if you have ideas or ways that you support relationship building amongst your students. We would love to hear what it is that you do. Go ahead, Raquand, as soon as you're ready.
Okay. One of my favorite activities is you give the kids, the old school, and I may be dating myself, I am old. It says kick me on the back. So what I would do is give everyone a blank sheet of paper and they stick it on the back of their peers in their group as they're working in groups. And I'll say pause for the cause, and they'll stop and they'll write something positive about what they're doing in the group. Or I give them statements: I appreciate, I think that, or I disagree with this, but. And it was very effective. The kids loved it, and it made them conscious of using those skills that we've talked about are used in the classroom to practice, the competencies that we were practicing that day. But I know it's an old school kick me, but I would let them know, look, this says kick me, but that's not what we're doing today. Today, you're going to be proactive and you're going to leave positive notes that you can speak about, and they can be constructive in helping us become a better community.
Oh, I love that. I wish you would have been my coach when I was in the classroom. I would have taken that in a heartbeat.
Yes.
If you're not sharing, but you're listening, we just gave you a strategy. We didn't. Raquanda did. Can they take it? Do you mind?
Of course. Sharing is caring.
Yes. Thank you.
Building relationships.
It's true. It's very true.
That pause for the cause, I love it. I wish I kind of want to find a classroom so I can do that. I think it'd be really fun with adults too, in like a PD or like a professional learning, meeting. It would be it's really creative. How can I connect? Well, there's 3 of us here, right? Myself, Nyssa at swivl.com. If you are interested in learning more about how Swivl can support your initiatives, please feel free to email me. You can book a consultation with me. We can have a discussion, chat further about your goals. And then, of course, you can reach out to Erin and Janelle. There are their Twitter handles and their emails. If you want more information on the strategies they presented today or more specific examples of using any of the tools that they showed you in today's webinar. We have webinars. You can find them at swivl.com/events, and you're welcome to join as many webinars as you like. And for additional SEL resources, you can find them at swivl.com/social emotional learning.
Thank you.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And we hope to see you soon.
Thank you. And we do have, we'll talk about it a little bit more. We have a Facebook community, so our Facebook page. So please feel free to follow us, like us, and all of the Facebooky things for more information on events and whatnot.